Hey, welcome to Craft Central Designs. This tutorial, I will be sharing with you how I made these beautiful coastal napkin rings. I'm planning more coastal tablescape decor pieces, including 2 coastal centerpieces in upcoming videos. I hope you'll be watching for those. Welcome to my subscribers and newcomers to my channel as well. I hope you will consider subscribing. Hit the like button, and I love receiving your comments. Okay, let's get busy making these beautiful coastal napkin rings. For this project, we will need this beautiful, it's kind of a cream-colored cord that is actually like a macrame cord. I get this on Amazon, and in the description box, I will link all the information about that cord, including the Amazon store where I get it. You're going to need a piece of duct tape, which is going to help us hold down those cords so we can create the napkin rings. You're going to cut 2 pieces of 32 inches and 2 pieces at 20 inches per napkin ring. We'll go over that in just a moment. I ordered as well my seashells on Amazon. Now, yes, I do live near the ocean, but to get perfect, beautiful shells worthy of my coastal decor pieces that I create, I like to order them on Amazon because they are really perfect shells, perfect sand dollars, perfect starfish. I can order the size that I need, and they always come packaged very well, so nothing is ever broken. I will as well list in the description box where I get those shells. I'm going to also be using some of those little shells that come in those little glass bottles at Dollar Tree. I've actually been on a search for those lately. Coastal decor must be very popular lately because I can't seem to find them. So I'm working on my last shells. I need to replenish my supply. You're also going to need, of course, a pair of scissors, a glue gun, some Aleene's tacky glue, and I got these beautiful coastal color napkins at Home Goods. But of course, you can find cloth napkins anywhere, but I find Home Goods is a great place to go. Look for something like that. Okay, we're going to start by cutting our cord for these napkin rings. Now we're going to cut 2 pieces at 32 inches and 2 pieces at 20 inches per napkin ring. So you can go ahead and cut all of your cord so that you're prepared to start creating your napkin rings. Now that center cord, that's 20 inches that you're cutting. In the end, you're going to find that we're going to have about 6 inches left over on that. But the reason why I have you cut longer cords is because it helps to have something to secure the cord while you are creating your square knots. And I will show you what I mean by that in just a moment. So I take a piece of duct tape and I tape down the end. I have 1 square knot already created there, but I'm going to show you slowly and methodically how I create square knots. If you are not a macrameer, you may not know how to do this, but I'm going to show you. Very, very, very easy to do. Those 2 short 20-inch cords will remain down the center. On the right side, you're just simply going to create a loop and let it rest on top of those 2 center cords. On the left side, you're just going to lay that across that cord, and now you're going to feed it underneath those 2 center cords, and now you're going to tie a knot, which is half of the square knot. Now, we're going to go on the left side. We're going to do the same thing. Lay that cord across, creating that loop on the left side. Put the other cord, the long cord, over the top and feed it underneath those two center cords. Now look what we're doing. We're just tying. Essentially, we're just tying knots around that center cord. Once you tie it, push it up, secure it. And now see how those two center cords just remain there in the center. Now, you're going to create a loop, lay it over the top, take the one on the other side, lay it over that one. Now reach under those two center cords and tie a knot. Now you have half of the square knot. So now we're going to go on the left side, do the same thing. Create the loop, lay it over the top of the center cords, lay that one over the top of that cord. Now just feed it underneath the center cords, and now you have created a square knot. I use my arm to secure those center cords. It helps when you're creating those square knots to have something holding down those center cords. So I use my arm or my elbow. Now let's create another one. Make the loop, lay that cord over the top, feed it underneath those two center cords, and tie it tight. Now we're going to do the other side to create the other half of the square knot. Make the loop, lay it over the cords. Take that piece, lay it over that cord. Now take it underneath the two center cords. And this is where I usually put my arm on the center cords to hold it steady and stable so I can create my knots. Okay, let's do another one. On the right side, lay your cord over the two cords in the center, feed it underneath the cords, bring it up, and tie it. Now let's do the other half of the square knot. The loop is on the left side. Lay the cord over the top, feed it underneath the two cords. Now I have my arm on those center cords just to hold it steady and stable. And I tie it and push it up so everything's nice and snug. This is really so easy. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to do this very quickly. Let's do another one. Make the loop, lay it over the top of the center cords, place that cord over the top of the cord you placed there, bring it underneath those two center cords, and pull it tight. Let's finish the other half of the square knot. Loop on this side, lay it over the two cords, lay that one over that single cord there. Now what? We're going to feed it underneath those two center cords. Now you can't see me there, but I'm sure I am holding those center cords with my arm. Feed it under. Do the same thing on the other side. Create the loop, lay it over the center cords, place that one over the single cord, feed it underneath the two center cords, and I'm putting my arm down there, you can see, to hold that. And there you have a square knot. There are 10 square knots that create this napkin ring. Okay, so all you have to do is create 10 square knots per napkin ring. Now naturally, as you go along, your outside cords are getting shorter and shorter. Now there's the left loop, place it over the top, feed it underneath those 2 center cords, pull it tight. Now I put my arm down to hold it. I was counting my square knots there. 10 is a good number, though. That's the one that the best number of square knots to do for a napkin ring to hold the napkin comfortably. Now on the left side, lay your cord over the 2 center, feed it underneath, tie a knot, pull it tight, and now it's getting really short, so you have less of a size of a loop. But by now, after you do this many square knots, you should be getting the hang of it. Super easy. This is a very basic macrame knot. Once you learn this, you could even make a macrame plant hanger. Super easy. And now we're going to do it on the left side. We're almost out of cord there. Place it over the top. Feed it underneath. Pull it tight. Now see how you have longer center cords there? You will have extra, which you will cut off. I personally just keep scraps like that. It comes in very handy when you have to create a hanger on the back of a piece or something of that nature. I don't waste it, but I find it's helpful to have that extra cord so that I can rest my arm on it to create a stable place for those center cords so I can hold them down and create my square knots around those 2 center cords. Now these napkin rings are going to be formed by just creating a circle, and we're actually going to be hot gluing that. But of course, something has to happen before we do that. So those ends, how are we going to deal with those ends? Very simply. I already created one of these, so you can see how beautifully they go together and how well those, or how beautiful those shells are going to look on top of there. So what we're going to do is now start taking care of the ends. I want about 1 inch of those ends of those cord, at the end of the cord there, about 1 inch on each end. We're going to be creating, I guess you could call it tabs, to close these napkin rings. Now I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. What we're going to be doing is gluing these little ends of the cord together to create a kind of a, I guess I'll call it a tab. So be very careful doing this. And don't burn yourself like I usually do. Okay, so we're going to start gluing each of those pieces of cord together to create a tab, if you will. And I hold it together till it seems to be adhered. Again, be careful. This part could easily burn yourself. If you want to wear finger protectors, that's always a good idea. Now see how I'm gluing those little end pieces of that cord there together. I'm going to be doing this on both ends. Now you're going to have a little bit of fraying. Don't worry about that. This cord is pretty, it's pretty substantial. It doesn't fray a lot, but when you cut off a cord, you're naturally going to have a little bit of fraying. So we'll take care of that in the end. Right now, we just want to be concerned with creating a flat tab. Like I said, let's just call it a tab, so that we can fold it over and glue it upon itself, if that makes any sense. Tab upon tab, okay? Let's just use that word, tab. So you can see I'm still gluing together all of my little cord pieces. Now in the end, we will take care of any of those little frayed edges. You won't be seeing them once the napkin ring is completed. And I'll show you what we'll do about those in the end. Okay, so now once I get all the glue strings off of myself here, this is the type of glue that we're going to use to control those fraying edges after we glue this in a circular shape of the napkin ring. So you see how we fold it over, and I want that tab upon tab, if you will, if that makes any sense. So that 1-inch tab on each side is going to fold over onto itself. You're going to take a good amount of hot glue there, and we're going to secure this napkin ring into a circular shape. Now be careful, again, this is, a tricky area. Watch out for the hot glue. But you want to start squeezing and pressing all of those cords to adhere to one another. See how I'm pressing from the inside as well as the top? Trying to create a cohesive look, a cohesive continuation of the cord. Now, this area here, the tab area, if you will, this is where we're going to be placing our shells. So this is going to be completely hidden. Now, at this point, you can really press and mold that napkin ring to control some of those frayed edges. Whatever frayed edges you couldn't control with the hot glue, when you were pressing the tabs together, you could take a little pair of scissors, my little Dollar Tree scissors that I love, and just trim away any little frayed edges that you see there. And I do that for all 4 of my napkin rings. I do it on the inside, the sides, the top, everywhere. I don't want to see any frayed little strings. Now, I take my finger and I dip it in the Aleene's tacky glue. And I'm just going to go around anywhere I see any little fraying and go in the direction of the cord, so that you're just how do I want to say that? So that you're going in the direction that the cord goes, so that you're not working backwards and making more fraying. If that makes any sense at all, just press down all the fraying. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay, so I have almost completed doing that. Now this glue, Aleene's tacky glue, is really awesome because it dries completely clear. And it's a very, very, very good glue. It's a very good tacky glue. So I like to use it, especially to control fraying. You could probably use Mod Podge as well. Oh, I have glue all over my fingers there. Okay, so I waited for those to dry. And now we have our completed napkin rings as far as the cord is concerned. Now I decided to do different types of napkin rings to give you options. But also, I think it's kind of nice if you had a table setting to have different shells on each of your napkin rings. Everything doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. I'm completely on board with changing it up and creating visual interest. Now, some of these napkin rings are just really complete with just the beauty of one natural shell. And I found this to be true with the sand dollar, which is a 2-inch sand dollar, and the starfish as well. But I decided, for my taste, you do you. I thought it looked better with 2 starfish. So I kind of situated the starfish kind of placed with inside of one another, if you will. And that was my choice for this. You could do just one. I also tried taking some of my tiny, tiny starfish that I also got on Amazon, and I thought about doing a combination of a large one with some small ones, but I wasn't really crazy about that. But again, I'm just trying to give you options so that you can determine what it is you'd like to do with your napkin rings. Now, one of my favorite napkin rings that I did here was the assortment of shells on the napkin ring. I do love the singular shell as well, but I did a combination here with little sand dollar, the pretty shell on top, some of the little tiny shells from Dollar Tree. These really make a beautiful napkin ring. I put on a couple of those really tiny starfish that I have. But you do you. Just experiment. Lay it on your napkin rings. See what you like. Try arranging them before you glue them down, just to have a really good idea what you want to do before you actually glue them. So I'm just going to apply the shells. I know exactly what I'm going to do with all 4 of my napkin rings now, after experimenting, laying the shells out. So I'm just going to put one singular sand dollar on this one napkin ring. I just think it's absolutely beautiful on its own. I hold my shells down against the macrame napkin ring until it dries. And it was the same with this one. I thought the shell was just so beautiful, and there's just something about using natural shells. It's just going to add such a beautiful touch to your coastal theme dinner table. And I think it is just enough all by itself. So I put a generous portion of glue there. I hold it down till it's well adhered and dried. And I love it just like that. And hot glue is quite sufficient for these napkin rings. Now for the starfish, as I said, I decided to use 2 starfish on one napkin ring. Still, again, I'm trying to see if I want to use those baby starfish. I'm just really undecided, but I ultimately decided to just place the 2-inch starfish on there. So I've completed all of my napkin rings. And this one is the assortment of shells. I think that's one of my favorites. I love that. I think it's just beautiful. Look how beautiful those square knots look with that on that macrame cord. And here's my starfish. Beautiful. And again, I think it's so pretty to have an assortment of napkin rings on a coastal table. Really creates a lot of visual interest. Love this one. These shells are so pretty. Again, I'll put those in the description box. Really nice quality shells. Beautiful with the napkin rings in there and the pretty coastal colors. And as well, I think the sand dollar is just beautiful. It's just simple and just beautiful. So here we have all of our napkin rings. So use your creativity, create yours as you like them. And here we have one last look at these beautiful napkin rings. If you like what you see on my channel, please subscribe, leave me your comments, and hit the like button. And until next time, take care.